Hey, my name is Thom Rainer. I am the author of the book, The Post-Quarantine Church. You know, in the midst of all of the difficult things that have been happening with churches, when you begin to hear all the bad news, you're beginning to wonder, is there anything good that is taking place as a result even of this pandemic? And while certainly we will acknowledge the travesty of death and sickness and businesses that have been harmed significantly or even closed, I also want to acknowledge that there has been some good that is taking place, and that good is particularly taking place among churches. Now, allow me to elaborate, and I'm going to share 3 points with you. I could share a lot more because I'm very, very encouraged about what some churches are doing. First, many churches are more effective at reaching their community now than they were before the pandemic. I know that that seems paradoxical. It may even seem contradictory, but the reality of it is during this time, during the pandemic, there was a period of reflection, of quietness, and many of the church leaders began to reach out digitally to their community, and the community responded. I heard more than one pastor and other church leaders say this, you know, I did not know that our community was so hungry for some type of fellowship, some type of community, even some type of truth that, of course, is the truth that the churches are able to communicate and preach and teach. And so when it was all said and done, we heard from a number of churches. And here's the panorama I have. I am able to listen to tens of thousands of church leaders every single month. Now, obviously, I cannot get them on the telephone or a Zoom, but I do hear from them through the blog, through the social media, through podcasts, and through the webinars that we have done, as well as our community called Church Answers. And I hear from them about how they are now reaching more effectively the community of which they're a part. Some of the pastors and other leaders even said, you know, I got out in the neighborhood more and I met my neighbors, some of them for the first time. That's encouraging. A second thing is more churches are moving to evangelism. They have seen that they cannot count on those who transfer from one church to another, the cultural Christians as well. And they said, we now have to really be focused on the Great Commission of Matthew 28 or Acts 1:8 or any place where Christ has compelled us to go and make disciples, to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we're hearing more and more church leaders say, we are focused, we are really closely focused on reaching people with the gospel. And if that's not a good thing, I don't know what is a good thing. A third benefit, the first benefit was reaching the community. The second benefit was more focus on evangelism. And obviously these are not mutually exclusive. The third benefit is what I call the blank slate. And what we mean by the blank slate is churches have had an opportunity to say, let's start over. Let's look at our ministries, our programs, our activities from scratch. We have an opportunity to do so. Let's look at our budget afresh. Let's look at why we do the things we do. Let's ask this question, could we do less? Could we do a few more focused things instead of trying to keep the calendar so full that it keeps our church members away from their families and really away from ministry because they're so focused on maintaining the programs and ministries of the church? If there's anything that's exciting me, it's this blank slate, because the blank slate presumes that evangelism will take place, that reaching the community will take place, that there will be greater stewardship, that there will be greater focus, that there will be greater clarity. And so you look at this whole time of the pandemic, COVID has not been all bad for churches and church leaders. As a matter of fact, when it's all said and done, we have seen many, many churches that are coming out of this stronger than they were before the pandemic. It is my prayer for your church, it's my prayer for churches across North America and the world, that they will see that this is not just a thing that is they have to endure, but it is an opportunity that they can capture. I've seen it in many churches, and there's absolutely no need why it can't happen in your church. That is my prayer for you, and that is my prayer for churches across the world.